activities such as traveling to wineries, distilleries, eating with local families, engaging in hands-on experiences such as cooking classes, and so on. When you think about that, that is basically 9 out of 10 say that they've engaged in, or 8 out of 10 say they've engaged in food activities while on vacation. That's an important takeaway, I think, from this webinar. If you're seeking the millennial traveler, then that generation is even more particularly interested in culinary travel, with 88% of millennials having participated in food experiences while vacationing. That's 9 out of 10 millennials who are trying to find food experiences when they vacation. AAA travel agents report a 43% increase in the number of members planning culinary-focused vacations. Bottom line, people are looking to experience different kinds of food and have food experiences while they're on vacation. There's just no doubt about it. And since breakfast is half your name, are you promoting it? BedandBreakfast.com traveler surveys show that 8 in 10 travelers claim a B&B breakfast is the most important amenity to them. So that complimentary breakfast is something that should be front and center in your selling messages. Make sure that people can see, find your breakfast and food amenities right on the front page of your website. Here's Cliffside Inn has created an Epicurean Delights page, and the Lookout Point has also a food page. That's, if people are going to be motivated by food, they're going to be looking for those easy navigation to find out more about your food experiences. I loved how the Borland House in Illinois, I think, talks about how they're all about food. Right on their homepage, they have a button that says gourmet food, and their tagline is, "We are all about food." Oh, it's in New York State, that's right. So if somebody is looking for a food experience, a culinary getaway, and they come to this website, they know they're going to come to a place that's really all about food. So recipes. How many of you have recipes on your website? Recipes can really help to build traffic, but your guests need to be able to find them easily online. I liked how the Carolina Bed and Breakfast did it here, with not only easy navigation to the different kinds of recipes, but also pictures that would encourage you to click through. The Big Mill Inn makes food a real selling priority, and we're going to go back to this in a minute, but here's another example of beautiful pictures and the ability to click through to recipes. We'll talk more about the Big Mill Inn in a little bit. So I love the idea of a Recipe of the Month Club. It keeps potential guests coming to your websites. It gives them a reason to come back every time, once a month. If you have an availability button right on your Recipe of the Month page, that's even better. And of course, search engines love the new content that you're adding to your website all the time. So think about how you might be able to promote a Recipe of the Month Club. And we're also going to talk more about that in a little bit. You can archive your recipes and create an online cookbook like Rocky Mountain Lodge and Cabins has done here. Their recipe archive is easy to find right on their website. So I wanted to show you a few good examples of inns and B&Bs that are really all about food and have done a great job of promoting it. The Harvest Moon B&B in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, is all about food and food experiences. They've made that their signature selling point. Right from the very beginning, their tagline says, "Specialized in culinary exploration and healthy relaxation." They have a whole calendar of different culinary events that they do, and that keeps people coming back. It gives people a reason to choose them over a very crowded B&B community in Lancaster County. This is Carl, the innkeeper there, who's really created a culinary destination from Harvest Moon B&B. And you can see that he's done a nice job with photographs and really getting the message out that they're organic, they're fresh, they're healthy, and they're local. Here's some example of a couple of the classes that he does. He does a candy making demonstration around the holiday time, and then also a pizza making class, but that's just two of them that are here. Their culinary activities include lectures, demonstrations, tours, weekends, events, all with the hope of edutaining, quote unquote, their guests and showing them all the different kinds of foods that are available in Lancaster County. It gives people a reason to come to Harvest Moon, and you can be sure that these are all scheduled at times which are slower, in the season. So here we are again at the Big Mill Inn in North Carolina. Chloe is the innkeeper there, and I use her as an example a lot because she does the most fantastic job of featuring food at her inn, and her inn is located in a very rural destination in North Carolina, and as she says, there's not a lot to do, but you would never know that from her website, from her blog, from her social media campaigns, because the beauty of the area is captured in all of these great photography and also the foods of the area. If you just do a Google search for Chloe's blog, Big Mill Inn, you will be able to see hundreds and hundreds of great recipes and photos that she's talked about on her blog. She does an amazing job of encouraging you to share the blog. As you can see, she has all of these share buttons over here, so people will share them on Facebook, Google+, Twitter, Yum, etc. And also, if you were on her blog and you moused over these pictures, that same share button bar would come up, so that you can be sure that she makes it very easy for you to share the goodness at Big Mill Inn with your own audience and really kind of expand her reach that way. She's very active on Pinterest. Note that she has a Pinterest board for all of her blog posts and all of her recipes. She also follows other people and has created a number of different food Pinterest boards. As you can see, she's created a pretty decent following. How many of us have 904 followers on Pinterest? She really pays attention to Pinterest because that's where foodies are. Pinterest is all about food and crafts, and she does a great job of featuring her food there. She also has created a cookbook, which is another selling tool, but I thought she did something incredibly smart. She has she wrote a blog about her recipes and about her cookbook, and if you go to her website, you'll see this free gift is on there on many pages on her website. So when you click through to it, you see that she has asked people to enter their email down here, and she'll send periodic updates with news from the farm, crafts, recipes, upcoming events, and other things to do in Eastern North Carolina. Plus, she'll send you a quote-unquote wee cookbook, a smaller version of her own cookbook, to entice you to buy the cookbook. This is brilliant because not only will Chloe be communicating with a growing group of people about what's happening at the Big Mill Bed and Breakfast, but she's also building her list. So this is a great way, either through Recipe of the Month clubs or this kind of a newsletter idea to gather people who might be interested in your food and also to build your own lists. So here's another example that anyone who's heard me talk probably has heard me talk about the Berry Manor Inn and how pies help to sell their rooms at the Berry Manor Inn. The Berry Manor Inn serves pie every day of the year. Usually shortly after check-in, the pies come out along with vanilla ice cream in the freezer. And there is quite a stir about the wonderful pies that are at the Berry Manor Inn. It has definitely become one of their selling amenities. But even more than that, the Pie Moms, the Berry Manor Pie Moms have done the most amazing job of selling the Berry Manor Inn, helping the Berry Manor to get their name out there. This picture right here has launched many, many, many stories in the media. The media loves the Pie Moms. They've appeared on The Chew. They first appeared with Bobby Flay and did a pie throwdown with him. Then The Chew. Then World's Dirtiest Jobs, they did a segment with Mike Rowe. He loved them so much, he came back and filmed a commercial for his cleaning product with the Pie Moms. They are a riot, they are fun, they are all about pie, and they have created a great personality, a pie personality for the Berry Manor Inn. Here's a screenshot of them in their appearance on the Chew. If you go to BedandBreakfast.com and just look for the Pie Moms, you'll see some of the videos of their segments that they've been in. And I encourage you to do it so you can see how one inn has created a food personality as a selling tool. And the Berry Manor has taken it one step further. Partnering with the Historic Inns of Rockland, they've created an event called Pies on Parade. It's a tour, a pie tour, from one end of Rockland to the other, celebrating National Pie Day. But it is also bigger than that. It is a fundraiser for the local food pantry, and it has raised $150,000 over its 15 years, I believe. And definitely put heads in beds during the slowest weekend of the year. People come, and it started out as an inn-to-inn pie tour, and it grew because there was so much demand for people to try these pies from the different inns that it grew to include other businesses in Rockland too. So now there are about 25 participating businesses, and it's actually expanded up to Camden to include some of the Camden businesses, inns, and Camden and Rockport too, neighboring towns. So it's basically taking their pie theme one step further. So let's move on to farm-to-table dining experiences. That's something that that is, you've heard more and more about. Certainly is one of the trending food getaway experiences that travelers are looking for. Here's a great example from the Wickwood Inn in Illinois. Right from the very beginning, they talk about their food. The food at Wickwood is amazing, complimentary at our farm-to-table B&B. They kind of brand themselves as a farm-to-table right from the get-go. Their farm-to-table breakfast, they talk about their sweets and treats, their evening sips, and you can see right from the very beginning that from both the pictures on this website and also from the content that this is an inn that is all about farm-to-table dining and all about food. I loved how this inn called Los Poblanos, which offers a organic lavender farm, has really used that lavender as a wonderful selling tool. They host volunteer days. They have what they call lavender labs. They do cooking classes with lavender. They do long table dinners, and they do lavender distillation demos. You can just imagine what kind of experience, hands-on experience this provides to people who are interested in lavender but could never get close to it in their own communities. To be able to come here and help plant, help harvest, help learn how to distill it into essences and to cook with it. I just love how they've done a great job of selling rooms with the lavender that grows on the farm. And here's another great example of how the Norwich Inn in Vermont has teamed up with a food purveyor, a local food purveyor, King Arthur Flour, to help sell rooms. They work together. King Arthur Flour works with the Norwich Inn to help people who are coming to their cooking school find rooms. And then, of course, King Arthur offers a 20% discount if you take a class at, Norwich offers a 20% discount if you take a class at the King Arthur Flour Company. I love it. It's a win-win for both of these businesses. How many of you have cookbooks? I imagine that some of you who are listening here do have cookbooks. They help to keep your B&B top of mind. I've seen a number of inns and B&Bs who sell them right on their website or through Facebook and even through other means, and I suggest that you do that. It's a great way. Every time that somebody picks up one of your cookbooks, they're going to think of the great time that they had there with you. Cooking schools. Mission Oak Inn does a cooking school. It's a great little cooking package that I loved. They include dinner, breakfast, and dessert, and the chance to work one-on-one with Chef Denny. You choose the menu and you help prepare it, and you get to work hand in hand with the chef. There's a lot of different cooking school scenarios. Sometimes they're demonstrations, sometimes you're working one-on-one with the chef, sometimes you're just watching him or her, but there's so much interest in cooking school getaways, and especially with girlfriends getaways that are combined with cooking schools. I've seen that as a great trend. The Hearthstone Inn in Camden, Maine is really kind of a leader in this whole culinary experience and cooking school experience. They've taken their cooking school out of the inn, and they now host tours for guests to Italy and France, along with the chef, who will give you tips for how to marry up terrific food, take you on culinary adventures, and so on. It's a wonderful way to experience food with the chef in another outside the country. They also do at the Hearthstone Inn a Chef of the Day, very, very popular Chef of the Day cooking school too. So the media loves to write about cooking schools. As you can see, this is an article that just appeared in the Boston Globe about a number of different culinary getaways in New England. And a number of these are inn-based, and people not only does the media love to read about them, but these inns that were featured here actually got bookings from people who are really, want to do more culinary traveling. So another idea that you can do if you think, scratching your head, how am I going to do this? Partner up with other inns or innkeepers for food events and promotions. This is the example you see here is the annual Inn Cookie and Candy Tour in New Hampshire. That's 11 inns that work together around the holidays to feature holiday cookies and holiday decorations. I'm sure many of you have heard about the 8 Broads in the Kitchen. If you haven't, this is a group of 8 wonderful innkeepers. Wouldn't you just love to be on the porch with them? Look at those smiles. They are all great chefs, great cooks, but also with incredible personalities. And they've created this 8 Broads in the Kitchen as a website, as a social media campaign, and it helps to get their individual recipes out there, but it really is helping to sell the whole B&B food experience too. The 8 Broads are fabulous, and if you ask me, I think they're a media sensation too. Now, a lot of inns and a lot of culinary travelers, foodie travelers, are looking for what I call bed and vine experiences. There are a number of inns and B&Bs that offer them. Here's one that at the Herman Hill Inn in Herman, Missouri. And what do they do there? What do they do to sell their inn getaways? Well, they're located right on a vineyard. All of their rooms are named after different kinds of wines. They create a fabulous raspberry port sauce from the grapes that grow in their vineyard, and they not only serve that to guests with warm chocolate chip cookies at 10 o'clock at night from the innkeeper directly himself or herself, but they also sell it too. And they've created a wine map. So here's a way that one inn has really taken the wine theme and incorporated it right into the experience there. The unique inns are a group of West Coast inns, and I loved some of the winery packages that they had. This one from the Cottage Grove Inn in Calistoga, California, is a wine package where you go. You take a complimentary bike ride from the inn's bikes, and you get to provision yourself at a local market and then take off and do some wine tasting and picnicking. Portland's White House in Portland, Oregon has teamed up with the Backroads folks to provide a door-to-door service so that their expert guides will pick up their guests at the inn around 10 o'clock and take them to 4 different wineries plus a break for lunch and then bring them back. It's a guided wine tour, and no one has to worry about driving. And here's another example from the Winchester Inn in Ashland, Oregon, where there's a progressive lunch combined with a wine tour. One more example, how a group of 9 inns along the Maine coast have teamed up to do a drink your way up and down the coast of Maine. So they've created an itinerary where you combine a stay at the inn with visiting different wineries, distilleries, and microbreweries. And of course, the craft beer industry has really, really grown and has become really just about the same appeal to many people as wine travel has. Lots of inns, especially in Vermont, have teamed up with different microbreweries to do packages with either tours of different breweries and beer pairing dinners to becoming a brewer for the day and working with brewers to learn the brewing process. You're seeing more and more of these tours inn or brewery and inn tours happening because there's such a demand for it from the foodie traveler. I loved this from this bed and breakfast that's in Mid-Coast, Maine. They provide a wild mushroom foraging package. You go out with a very talented and knowledgeable forager, and you not only learn about which mushrooms in the woods are edible, but he'll teach you about all the other things in the woods that are edible too. And if you read this carefully, he'll explain how cattails can actually be edible, and part of the package is that he takes you back to the inn and teaches you how to prepare them and therefore you get to try them. Wonderful package that involves local foods. People love this package. So my final thought is just make sure you have fabulous photos of your food, because a picture tells 1,000 words, and if you have these great pictures of your foods, people will click through to learn more. Which photos would motivate you to travel? These over here, which are perfectly lovely photos, but not necessarily as likely to entice you as some of these over here. Not all of these photos here are professionally done. Some of these were done by innkeepers. So it doesn't mean you have to have professional photos taken. I highly recommend that you do if you're a food-oriented inn, because it's hard to photograph food well. But this is a great example of how, if you look at some of these food photos, you're going to really want to go to that inn. It entices you. It makes my mouth start watering just to look at some of those, and I'm sure it would have the same effect on people who are considering food getaways to your inns and B&Bs. So that is it. Any questions? Have questions come in while we've been talking?
It doesn't look like any questions have come in yet, but if you have any, we encourage you to ask away. Looks like we have a couple more minutes before the end time, so like I said, feel free to ask any questions. You can type them in to the sidebar of the GoToWebinar software, and we'd love to hear from you.
And they don't have to be food questions. They can be any questions.
Yes, and if you don't want to ask them right here, obviously here's Marty's information if you have questions and want to reach out separately. Aha, hold on, looks like we have a question. Someone is asking if they can see the presentation after it's over today, and yes, the answer is yes, indeed. We will have the recording available to you guys. We've recorded it, and then it'll be live on the site, and you should get a copy of it in your email once it is ready. So hopefully about a week or so, but yes, we will be sending out the recording. Let's see here. I think we have another question. One moment. We have a question from Matt Cunningham. Okay, it looks like he's asking, Marty, what is Yum? It was a share button you mentioned on the Big Mill Inn. Can you explain more about that?
I believe that it is along the lines of Pinterest, in that it's a food-oriented recipe sharing kind of a platform. I'm not as familiar with it as I am with Pinterest and Twitter and Facebook, but Matt, let me type in where you're from and let me find out a little bit more about that, and I can get back to you.
Yeah, Matt, if you want to share your, or I think I'll get you his email address. We can share more about
Okay.
that after the presentation. And then Crystal Britzman is asking, do you recommend snacks? And if so, what time do you recommend that they be served?
Well, that's a great question. I have worked with lots of innkeepers who used to say to me, well, I don't serve anything in the afternoons because no one is around. And my answer to that is no one is around because you're not serving anything. I think that at this point, B&B guests expect to have some kind of refreshment in the afternoon, like anything from just easy homemade cookies and lemonade to high tea in some places. It really varies from destination to destination. In Newport, Rhode Island, for example, the concept of afternoon tea has been brought to such a level that it is this enormous, people expect this enormous spread. That doesn't necessarily happen everywhere. It's just that that's what all the inns there do. But I think that some kind of an afternoon refreshment, homemade cookies is very common, homemade bars, any kind of a sweet treat in the afternoon is something that I would highly recommend. If a lot of inns do the bottomless cookie jar, meaning that they always have cookie jars there. I love the idea of a guest pantry where people can just help themselves. If you don't want to, you as an innkeeper are busy at check-in time, maybe you have just a stocked a pantry area that has snacks, anything from homemade goods to popcorn I've seen, and cracker packs and things like that.
Awesome. It looks like I think that's all the questions, and I think we're right a little over time. But again, thank you so much, Marty. This is super helpful, and we've gotten a lot of feedback in the questions boxes saying great presentation. So I know everyone very much appreciates it. And just so everyone on the phone knows, we're actually going to be doing these monthly with Marty on various topics. So look for an email about those dates, but just if you want to pencil it in on your calendar, we'll be sending out the registration link for Wednesday, July 26th. We're going to be doing a presentation with Marty on attracting the business traveler at the same time. And then on Wednesday, August 30th, we're going to do a presentation on cooperative marketing, finding partners to help sell your rooms, and then we have a couple others after that. So like I said, we'll be sending out the upcoming events calendar shortly, but if you wanted to pre-pencil those in, if you're enjoying these, definitely do that. And anything else, Marty, from you?
No, I thank everybody for tuning in today.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and thanks everybody for attending. Looking forward to the next one.
Me too.
All right. Have a good Wednesday, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.